Another problem I've seen is that we want financial security, that whether we like it or not, by the 30th of the month, salary must certainly come in.
Hello, great minds. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from wherever you're watching me from. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new on this platform, my name is Temitope Grace, and on this YouTube channel, we talk about faith, medicine, and finance. We use the power of storytelling to edify, to educate, and to entertain ourselves. While I was doing an introduction to this channel, I mentioned the fact that we're going to be having interview sessions with people that are currently running private practice in Nigeria. I mean, business of medicine is something that really interests me. So today we have one of such persons that have run this private practice, and we can say that he has done it very well. Like it is often said that we can see further by standing on the shoulder of giants. And so today we have one of such giants with us that we can stand on his shoulder to see into the business of medicine. So this is not your regular kind of conversation. These are the kind of conversations that are not taught in medical school. So I have with me today a fertility specialist. He is also the CEO and founder of Purple Ivy Hospital. He is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist, University College Hospital, Ibadan. Welcome with me, Dr. Olagunju. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Tope.
Currently, about 3 years ago, you started Purple Ivy Hospital. And in a space of 3 years, you have grown the hospital and you have established another branch. And when I came into this hospital today, I mean, I was wowed. And then I want to ask you, sir, can you just share a brief of your story from your most convenient point?
All right, thank you. Well, when I left medical school, the dilemma that I faced was that, do I know anything at all? Because we were taught, the way we were trained in medical school, we were trained with the generic name of drugs. We were not taught dosages. So when I came for house job, I was running around with senior house officers, and we were always carrying MDEX because we wanted to double check and know the dosages of the drugs. Okay? But after house job, I was privileged to work in a private hospital in Lagos, which was actually a place where I got my eye opening to realize that there is a lot of money in medicine. When he told me his story too, I knew that he was not born with silver spoon in his mouth. And I looked at him, I saw that he was a consultant. I felt that was one of his selling points. So I knew that I needed to go a step further. It was based on that I went in for residency. I started my residency training at Oluyoro Catholic Hospital, where I worked before I now got employment in UCH as a registrar before I became a consultant. So thought of starting private hospital came to me immediately because we were told then in residency that we shouldn't have a hospital, that it would distract us from our residency training and all that.
From what you just said now, you've helped us to see how that the decision to start private practice actually came to you while you were doing your when you were working with someone
As a medical
as
officer.
a medical officer.
Yes.
So it means that you didn't immediately start residency.
I didn't start residency.
When
No,
you
I worked for about 4 years.
Okay, so you
before going
finished
for
medical school, you did your house job, you did
Yes.
your NYSC.
Funnily, I couldn't do NYSC because I was older than the.
Okay.
We spent 9 years in med. I never had a receipt all through my medical school. But where I trained, medical training took a longer time to finish. So we spent 9 years to graduate as doctors. When I was graduated, I was 30 years plus. So I couldn't serve. So and that was a plus for me.
So you just went straight
into practice.
Into 4 years of practice as a officer, and that time of practicing it was really eye-opening for you. And I think that actually influenced the decisions that we make.
Yeah, it does.
The people that we surround ourselves with, actually, because few years down the line, it's like you are living that life. Exactly. I read an article that was saying that doctors are top 5% earners everywhere in the world. Then I begin to think about it now. Why is it that doctors are not top 5% richest people? I mean, is there something about financial literacy that we are missing out? Is there something about business management that we're missing out?
A lot, because we are not really taught on how to own a business and how to manage businesses. We are taught, see, the way the Western education system is, we are conformed to be trained to work for someone. That's the way we are. In fact, people go to share testimonies in church the day they get a job. They say, I have been employed now under Afe Babalola University as the MD. But you've never thought of it that Afe Babalola is owned by somebody. And you can also be an employer of that or of other doctors. So that's a big problem. Another problem I've seen is that we want financial security. That whether we like it or not, by the 38th of the month, salary must certainly come in. But if you have that kind of mentality, you can never be rich. Please read my lips. You can never be rich. Because salary, your take-home pay, cannot take you home. The truth is that the kind of money you are getting, do you know the word salary? Actually, you can check it up. Salarium, it's equivalent to salt. How much salt do you put in stew? It's just a pinch of salt. They say that the food you give a slave is not for him to be fat. It's for him not to die of hunger. So that it can be more useful again for you when you are working. That's what salary is. I was just sharing. Someone showed me a structure somewhere in Abuja that goes for 500 million naira. And he was telling me that there is no civil servant in Nigeria that can buy that house. Because if you earn 2 million naira, that looks big to you. In a year, that's 24 million naira. In 10 years, it's 240 million. In 20 years, it's 480 million. So you can see, that's without paying 1 naira for tithe, without paying 1 naira on fuel, without you are just saving everything. It will take 22 years or thereabout to be able to buy that kind of structure. For how long will you continue working with someone? But let me now tell you the contrast. Another problem we have again, before I won't miss it, is risk bearing. We are afraid of the unknown. Most people think, if I start a business, will patients come? Yeah. If I start a business, how will I pay salary? They will be pulling my dress, pulling my clothes. We have not been paid salary. But in the real sense, it's not like that. All you need to know is that before you start your business, strategize. Make sure you are sellable. Make sure you are good with what you do. Make sure you have customers. Like I told you in my own case, I've been treating patients outside for a long time. And I give them my number. So when I started, they just came en masse. And none of them was disappointed.
Can you tell us about your journey in business, how you started?
When I started business, the greatest fear that everybody normally have was the same fear I had. How will I pay salaries? Will I see patients? But one thing I've learned in my practice so far is that your problem is not lack of facility, lack of hospital space. Your problem is lack of customer. If you can have customers will bring money that you will use for your hospital space. I tell you the truth. So one of the things that worked for me had been that when I was a resident doctor, I had always been seeing patients. I will operate patients and they will have good outcome. And I had excellence in the way I put scar on the abdomen of people. Their scars are always beautiful with good cosmetic appeal. So that alone was a recommendation for me. And once you have done well to one patient, that patient is likely to bring another patient to you, and it becomes a cascade of events. So I'd had a lot of patient base. When I opened my hospital, within the first 1 year of the hospital, I had had more than 700 patients who had booked, who were all private patients. In fact, on the day of commissioning of my hospital, I operated 3 patients.
With the story you are sharing with us now, you own your skill. First of all, you are very skillful at what you do. So you learned the arts of medicine and the art of it, the science and the art of medicine. And then you saw that it's something that you can take into the market. And so you already know that for this thing that you have, you need people to sell it to. So in your treating of the patients, you saw them beyond the disease. You saw the humans. You treat them that they will have something to come back for.
Exactly. One truth you must know is that you need value to exchange for money. That value means ability to solve problems. When people see that you can solve their problem, you know what they are doing, they will readily come to you with money. When you now mix that with human feelings and you mix it with comfortable environments, there is nowhere the patient is going again. They will even bring more patients to you. So
Okay, so can you just tell us a bit more about your journey when you started?
when I started, before I opened the hospital, I had that mind that in another 1 year I will open the hospital. I was beginning to buy the hospital equipment little by little. But when I started, I didn't start this big.
Okay,
I had only 3 staff.
okay,
I was the fourth staff. I started from a structure, but of course, the packaging that I'm talking about, you don't want to just rent, face me, I face you downstairs, upstairs, people are living there. And so when you are conducting delivery, somebody will be talking upstairs or someone will spread clothes on the corridor and it will be dripping water on patients that are entering your hospital. No. So I made sure I got a whole structure, both the up and down. So, but it was not so much welcoming. So I painted it fairly well. I made sure the reception had AC. So, because I'd been contributing money for a while.
so let's talk about saving.
Yeah.
How were you able to gather the capital to do all of these things? Because you said that the first time you started, like you had like 2 surgeries on that day.
3, actually.
Okay, you had 3 surgeries
Yeah.
on that day. So, I mean, it means that you must have had your theater table, everything. So, how did you?
I didn't have everything. It wasn't easy then. So, but anytime they call me to do CS somewhere or a hysterectomy, I make sure I don't touch the money. I know if I'm not called, salary will help me and some little change. So I always keep the money aside and I make sure all those money I use it to buy. So when it was time to buy theater table, then when I was just starting, theater table was, I think, 900,000 naira. Correct one. I paid 900,000 naira for it. Of course, I drank the gari for some time and I was still relaxing because I was not pressured. Later, more money came in. I bought instruments. I had a nurse who is now our matron. And that nurse happened to be a nurse we had worked together in one other hospital. So when we are going for instruments, I will say, hey, your sister, what instrument do you think we can buy more? So we'll buy together, we shop, we always stockpiling those instruments. So on the day we opened our hospital, I just brought those things out once. But we still did not have money for some other things, like theater lamp. We couldn't have money. So what did we do? It was torch lights I used. Torch lights. So big torch lights with like the one security men use, with very sharp light focused on the operation field to operate my patient. So, but within a week of starting, I had made enough money to buy theater lamp. So we were evolving that way. You understand? I made sure within 2 weeks, within a month, we bought an AC into the theater. Like that, and that's how we're evolving. So the money, another last thing. So I've said 3 things. I've talked, number 1, about having customers.
Yes, sir.
Before you even open.
Yeah.
Number 2, that fear does not exist. Leave the story. Leave the fear. The fear will cut you and prevent you from making it.
Yeah.
And you will make it. You have enough to make it. The last one I must say is that when people start hospital and they start saying money, what comes readily to mind is that it's now the time to change my car. And now I'm MD now. I want to. No, that's not. You plunge that money back into the business. Very soon the business will be able to make money to pay you. So what I did first year of business was that I was paying myself salary too. I wasn't putting hand in the money and spending anyhow. If you make 1.2 million naira in 2 weeks because you are just starting, that 1.2 million naira is not your own. No. You should realize that out of that 1.2 million naira, materials for the hospital, normal saline, all those things, you have to buy from it.
Yes,
salary is there.
Yes,
Money for energy, that's petrol and all that is there. Out of that money, your own salary is just a fraction of it. The remaining should be plunged back into the business. So that's the way we evolved, and God helped us.
And it's been 3 years now, and you have 2 branches.
Yes.
One standard branch where you do everything, multi-special hospital. So I want to ask you, in this private practice, has it been fulfilling for you?
Very fulfilling. I won't lie to you. In fact, if I will say I have a regret, my only regret is that I didn't start early.
Wow.
I'm telling you the truth.
Wow.
If I had started early, I know that I will have more testimonies than what I'm having now.
Wow.
Private practice makes a lot of sense. It's so beautiful doing what you like to do, yet people are paying you for it.
Yeah.
And It pays your bill. You are happy. You are seeing your business grow. Yet your staff that you are working with are also happy with you because they are well remunerated. So it makes a lot of sense, especially for people like us that have worked with the government for a while. We can compare and contrast, and we can see that
Can you
the
tell,
difference is
let's
clear.
talk about the fact that you've tasted the two sides of the divide. Can you just tell us what's your experience? How has it been for you? What are the pros and the cons of the two sides?
Okay. Well, let's start with the pros and cons of private practice. Private practice, the advantage you have there is that you make your money daily. You cannot even predict how much money you will make in a day. The more patients you see, the more money you make. And it's interesting because once you are doing well, you are not just getting prayers from patients, you are getting recommendations, and people keep coming to you. Otherwise, in government hospital, on the other side now, if you are good at what you do, you will have more patients to see, salary will not increase. And most of those patients will be praying, God will do it. Nothing comes out from it more than your salary. Both the good doctor and the bad doctor, they earn the same amount of money. In fact, the bad doctor is likely not to see so much patients like the good doctor. So you will almost die of stress in private, in general hospital setting. Again, in general hospital setting, you are working on eggshell because any little thing, panel can come up. And there's nowhere you are referring to. It is the last center for referral.
Yeah.
So you must manage. Once they admit somebody under you, you manage and manage and manage that person so you can't refer. Then, but however, the advantage in government hospital is that there's career progression. You can become a professor. But I've seen a lot of our colleagues that will tell you who professorship help. That the so-called professors you are seeing, how many of them are multimillionaires? And we have seen business owners that are multimillionaires. So business gives you the opportunity to explore. You have your time. If you are employed under federal government scheme, you cannot travel anyhow. Even when you're on leave, it is stated that you can be recalled back from your leave. So if you are traveling out of the country, you must get approval from your HOD before you travel. In business system, you have doctors. I have 2 branches of my hospital. I have 4 doctors working with me. All I will just do is I will just give instructions. You understand? The worst I can have is chats on my WhatsApp. And hey, I'm in Maldives, enjoying my life. Caribbean Island, taking cold drinks. You understand?
So the next time we are going, I want to take cold. Actually, someone said that one of the greatest dividend that money will buy for you is freedom.
Yeah.
And it's actually something to explore.
Getting wealthy is not far from you at all. Everything you need to make it, to explode, to blow, like in your colloquial language now, is already in you. You have it in your hands. There is nothing to be afraid of. Just step out.
We're going to be having this kind of conversation, out of the box conversation, how that we can see beyond the anecteric afebrile not spill. We can see into our own pockets. We can diagnose patients from understanding what the vital sign of a patient is, temperature, blood pressure, and all of those things. But also we must understand the vital sign of our pocket. We must understand the vital sign of business, management, delegation, risk-taking, growth, investment, and all of these things. This and many more are what you are going to be enjoying on this YouTube channel. Why have you not subscribed? Is it like you don't want to make money? All right, that's on a light note. All right, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Let's spread this good news. Let's share as much as possible. See you in my next video. Bye, guys.